People going to get themselves in a world of hurt doing these lame social experiments or whatever you want to call it. Desperate for some lame social media clout for doing some creepy...
When you hit your 30s, you now know that fast life and all these things, there's no longevity in that. It's not a bit of me. I'm not waiting for you while you go to jail.
So wait a minute, second. So you spend your 20s giving your time to the guys that are going to jail, running up your body count. Now in your 30s, you decide to... wait, hold on a second. Wait, hold on a second. That is insulting. You decide to do... Wait, you spend your 20s doing all these things. Now in your 30s, you want to find a good guy who you didn't look at in your 20s, and now you want to... How dare you? No, how dare you? No, man, them don't accept that. You don't deserve that. You don't deserve that because...
I don't know, like you are saying...
No, you don't deserve that.
He's dead on. A man in his 30s shouldn't even be entertaining a woman in her 30s. More so if you are trying to start a family and have kids. All throughout history, it was normal for men to date 5 to 10 years their age, but feminism has tricked men into thinking they have to date some 30-year-old 304 instead of a young, fertile woman.
Much money in my face and it turned me cold-hearted. I like a bitch mixed with it all. Love a clean bitch just so I can hit it raw.
Nasty bitch.
The only Japanese person to survive the sinking of the Titanic in 1912 lost his job because he was known as a coward in Japan for not dying with the other passengers. He decided to save himself instead of going down with the ship. This was not a captain. This was not only the only Japanese survivor, he was the only Japanese passenger on the Titanic. His name was Masabumi Hosono. The only Japanese person on the Titanic, okay? He stood on the boat deck and he was torn between the fear and shame and the instinct he had for survival, okay? There were 2 spots open on lifeboat number 10. So Hosono had hesitated, but when he saw a man next to him jump in, not a woman or a child, right? He swallowed his fear and he jumped in also. And Hosono's decision saved his life, yet it brought him decades of shame. He was branded as a coward. School textbooks in Japan described him as an example of how to be dishonorable.
That sucks.
Oh. That fucking sucks.
The ex-fiancé of Maya Jama is demanding that she gives her $1 million ring back. Love Island presenter Maya and basketball player Ben Simmons got engaged in September 2021, but just less than a year later, the pair called it quits. And now Ben Simmons has launched legal action to try and get the pricey ring back. A close friend of Ben's reportedly told the press that he's shocked that she chose to keep the ring despite the engagement being so short. So the question is Ben just being a salty ex, or is it disrespectful to keep something so expensive when you break up?
You gotta be goofy to buy $1 million ring in the first place, but she should give it back as it's not hers. It was a ring with a promise of marriage attached to it. If you don't get married, give the ring back. Pretty simple.
I'm going to sperm bank.
Really?
100%. I'm born to be a mother. My sister, I've lived a very different life to my sister, who's 5 years older than me. She had children at 19, so I was 14 when she had her first. She's got 4 now. And yeah, 100%. I'm born to be a mother, and I will be an amazing
in
mother
this society, if you forget, daughters not as much, but how do you think it would be for your sons that his friends would
to deal with what I do?
Mum would get him railed on camera.
My children will not be born in this world, this reality, this life. Like, I'm going to Costa Rica. My babies will be in the ocean. They'll be in community living. The imaginary world of social media, and that won't exist in the world that I will create for my baby.
So you're saying you'd hide them from your reality?
No, we're not hide. It's just it's a different reality. I'm going to be on island life where we'll have a community where we share and grow, and it ain't about, you know, any social media. I will be like, either I'll be off it or someone will be running it, because I'm a bit slave to a salary. Like, how am I ever going to leave OF? But it's in like, yeah, my babies will not even know that world. And if it comes to it, and like, do you know what I mean, these circumstances don't turn out and I do have children, I am in this world, which will not happen, then I'll be truthful, I'll be honest, I'll be transparent. I won't hide anything. And be a bit like, and if he learns, like, boom, this is why you live in a mad house, this is why you go karate and do judo, like, Do you know what I mean? These are bridges I will have to cross when they come to it. But in my mind, in my manifestation portal, like they won't even be subjected to that. Like they're not going to be in the England schooling system where like kids bully and they go through like. Do you know, I remember when I was a kid, I got bullied on MSN. Now it's on every angle. Like my niece now she's had people make TikTok videos about her like being a bitch and being all these awful things. Like that is so destructive. And I see my niece now. She's like 13. She's on her phone for like 8 hours a day. I do not want that for my child. My child won't have a smartphone. My child will be diving in the ocean. It'll be dancing in front of the moonlight. It will be connecting with its community. Like, nah.
Never ask a fish how to catch fish. Always ask the fisherman. Funny how she got put in her place though.
I date you. You think I'm gonna allow you to get a drink from somebody? Straight up.
Listen, if you're not there, like, I'm gonna be respectful of the relationship, regardless of where
you wouldn't be there if you were respectful of the relationship.
Why should we be tied at the hip, regardless of where
yo,
we're different? Y'all controlling.
Different?
I didn't even say nothing.
Controlling.
There it is, controlling.
Yeah,
the buzzword.
not like that.
How we control it or y'all control it? Because we ain't even.
Controlling because a man doesn't want his girl taking drinks from random dudes alone at the club? When does the insanity end? What's next? Is he a misogynist racist as well?
Your Honor, how can my client be lying? He just put it on God. Objection, Your Honor, the defendant is capping. She belongs to the streets. Hearsay, Your Honor? Please. My client just stated he was dead ass. Your Honor, my client said, and I quote, "Anytime I got you, girl, you my possession. Even if I hit you once, you part of my collection," end quote. Your Honor, my client is clearly built different. Your Honor, ratio. Your Honor, city boy. I rest my case.
If you start talking about trans,
you will not be able to talk about anything else. You will ruin everything else. You will be dropped by people. If you look at the few sports people, for example, who've spoken on the trans issue in sports, they just don't get to be, just commentators. They just get dropped for other things. But so the day I decided to do it was the day that I met my first detransitioners. And as it happens, they were all girls and all lesbian. But that's absolutely not the case generally. That's just what this group was. And one of them was 23, and she had been very severely bulimic in her teenage years and had been hospitalized a few times because she was going to die otherwise. And then when she was 18, she unfortunately looked up online if it was possible to get your breasts removed without having breast cancer. Like she wanted, for reasons to do with weight. Like she was trying to get rid of them, like they were tiny, but she wanted to get rid of them. And she found top surgery. And a week later, she had decided that she was a trans man. And when she went to a gender clinic, the therapist said to her, "That's why you're trying to starve yourself, because you're not meant to have curves because you're really a boy." And so she told her parents, and her parents were delighted because they had seen their daughter nearly die. And they were like, yeah, if this is going to save you, you do this. So she got her ovaries removed, her uterus removed, she took testosterone. She was getting ready for phalloplasty, which is the most brutal surgery imaginable, where they take off an enormous chunk of either your leg or your arm and turn it into a fake dick. And, A, it's very non-functional, and B, enormous numbers of complications. And, none of it made her any happier. Like, she was still starving herself. So she looked online then, what do I do after a hysterectomy? Because she still felt terrible, because they lied to her about how easy all these operations are. Hysterectomies are really tough operations. And she was only 21 when she had hers. And she found all these sites of women who had uterine cancer or, that sort of thing. And they were very supportive. And she started talking to them. And then one day this sentence floated into her mind. And it was just, how can an operation that is only done on women turn me into a man? And it was like the whole thing, the whole past 5 years just unwound. And she was back and she was like, all of this was nonsense. And I listened to her tell this story and I just sat there and I thought, oh, fucking hell. They are sterilizing gay kids.